Hi there, smart drivers. Talking to you tonight about driving examiners, the gatekeepers that determine whether you pass your license or whether you fail your license. Their job is to determine if you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. Your job is to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about driving examiners, often confused with driving instructors, who are different people. Driving instructors are the people that teach you how to pass the driver's test, and they want your money. Driving examiners are going to want your money too, but it's going to be the DMV that takes your money, and then you're going to get in the vehicle with the driving examiner and go for a drive with them, and they're going to determine whether you are safe to have a license and to be a responsible driver on the roadway. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So a few people here. Bricks for Wheels. Corey is the moderator. He does an excellent job of keeping out the bad people and getting up the videos that I suggest you have a look at for further information to the questions that you do ask. Amazon Aaron is here. Your examiner is indeed a gatekeeper. LOL. Elevator Fan is here from Monticello, Indiana. Are you feeling better, my friend? Kyla is tuning in from Victoria, British Columbia. If you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from and what class of license you're going for. Evan is here, has left a couple of comments. My friend Mallory is tuning in from the Maritimes. Mallory is a smart driver here on the channel and tunes in every week and says that they're having some crazy weather down there in the Maritimes on the eastern seaboard of Canada. Elevator has been feeling sick for a month, and my good friend Tim with Cybersalt Communications, who also has a channel on basic Joomla tutorials, he hasn't been feeling well as also. Before Christmas he got the flu, and now he's got another one where he's got him and his wife both have a terrible cough, so it is going around, my friends. Kareen is tuning in from Florida. Wyatt, hello. Glad I didn't pay $350 for my lessons. They were a bit mid-range. Yes. Tom, I got confused with the DMV. All right. So, Tom, you were saying that it's really hit and miss, that you have one driving examiner at your local DMV that is good and one driving examiner which can be a bit of an ogre. Tom, where are you in the world and what DMV are you going to, my friend? So, Colton's Automotive Tips. Hello, my friend. Turning 19 today. That's right. It's your birthday, my friend. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Colton. I won't sing the rest because, not so good at it, but happy birthday, my friend. Wyatt, a lot of people know, has COVID right now. Yes, and it is coming back. The COVID, the flu. It is the flu, in fact, but a lot of people do have COVID and those types of things. So take care of yourself, be healthy, work out, exercise, eat properly, all that stuff. Yeah, I know it does make a difference because when you get a bit older, it really makes a difference, especially for me doing jiu-jitsu. As many of you know, I do that. So working out 3 or 4 times a week and trying to stay healthy through the winter months and the gray days of winter. They call it the dog days of summer. I really think it should be called the dog days of winter because it really is the dog days of winter. Elevator says he'll be turning 20 next Wednesday. Happy birthday, pre-happy birthday there, Elevator fan. All the best. So we're talking about driving examiners, the gatekeepers, those people that determine whether you pass your driver's test or not. And yes, there are some crusty old driving examiners, but for the most part, 98% of the driving examiners are simply doing their job, they're doing it well, and they're giving you a fair assessment. And as I tell new driving instructors, 9 times out of 10, they're right in their decision about whether you pass or fail your driver's test. And yes, I know it sucks that you failed your driver's test, but it is not the examiner's fault that you failed, okay? Take personal responsibility for what happens to you in your life and say, yes, how can I change this? What do I need to change to make better decisions? What do I need to do to better prepare myself for this test? Because it's not just your driving test. It's high school, university, college, whatever you're going to do in life. There are going to be tests that you are going to have to be prepared for And in a very small percentage of the cases, it's going to be the other person's fault or the environment or the circumstances or whatnot. But for the most part, you weren't ready, you didn't do the work, and you didn't succeed. You didn't succeed. It's not a failure. It's simply you weren't successful on that attempt, and you do another attempt, and then you pass. You only truly fail when you give up. That's failure. Failure is when you give up. If you don't give up and you keep going and you keep working to make yourself better, to pass the test or to succeed and win at whatever you're trying to do, that's true integrity. That is true growth in terms of your life. Kayla says she failed her mock test, and that's really good, Kayla, because now you can work on those skills and abilities you need to be successful in passing your real test. Wyatt, when they're rude, don't take it personally. They deal with crabby customers every day who take pride in hating the DMV, and Wyatt is absolutely spot on. That is a very prescient comment. Prescient means it's very insightful because it works both ways. The DMV driving examiners are abused by the people taking their tests. They're abused by driving instructors. They're abused by parents. So it's difficult for them to have a happy demeanor all the time too when they're taking this abuse from other people. I worked in Victoria, and there was a driving instructor in Victoria who was the same thing. He would hide cameras under the seats of the car, recording devices, those types of things. He was after the driving examiners with a vengeance. This is some of the stuff that they have to deal with. So if they're being crusty and not very pleasant to you, do not take that personally. Take a breath. Say to yourself, I'm going to pass my driving test. I don't care what you say or what you think. You only have to be with them for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then you can go on with your life. Just take a deep breath. Screw you. I'm going to pass. Okay? And as I said, this is in very few cases. It's like, 1 out of 100 times. Because as I said, most of the time they are really, really good. Wyatt, when I failed 2 years ago, she was definitely rude, but she gave great feedback. Excellent. There you go. Noah, the examiner who failed me, kept telling me to drive faster, but it was a parking lot. Can't comment on that, Noah, because I wasn't there. Mallory, the weather here is starting to clear up. It stopped raining today. That's awesome. Excellent. Mallory, if you don't pass your driver's test the first time and not succeed, just keep trying, and that's exactly right. Keep going, okay? Keep doing more driver's tests. Colton, don't blame the examiner. Blame yourself or whoever did something stupid from outside the car. Yes, but as I said, your job is to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. So let's get over to the presentation here, and we'll get through that. And then we'll come back and we'll spend the remainder of the hour answering any questions you have about passing a driver's test, being a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. So, crusty old driving examiners, we've talked about this. We talked about them as the gatekeepers, determining whether you're going to pass or fail your driver's test. And some of the things that you may have to deal with in terms of being successful on getting your license. So my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s, hauling freight between Canada and the United States, mostly up and down the eastern seaboard, everything east of the Mississippi. Did make it out to the west a few times, but mostly east of the Mississippi. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. Most of my work in terms of being a driving instructor was with semi-trucks and air brakes, buses. Didn't really start working with brand new drivers until I started the YouTube channel, which was interesting and a bit of a learning curve there as well. Earned my doctorate in legal history in 2006 from the University of Melbourne. For those of you who may or may not know, legal history is a study of policing, courts, and prisons, and my expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic, or the technical term is order maintenance, keeping people doing things right within society. While I was going to university, I drove for Greyhound in one of the regional bus lines there, and so I have experience driving highway coaches as well. I have experience with transit buses. I wrote some curriculum for the London Transit Authority in the late 1990s. And then in 2015, I started the Smart Drive Test YouTube channel in the online business, and it has been wildly more successful than I could have imagined. We're going to pass 300,000 subscribers this year. We passed 40 million views this year, so just an incredible success with the online work, and we're able to help heaps and heaps of people. A couple of things to look at, and all of the links for these are down in the description. Critical driving basics, and these are the basics because slow speed maneuvers are to driving what drills are to sports, and they are what scales are to music. You have to practice the fundamentals. If you're having trouble with your turns, wide turns, those types of things, go back to the fundamentals and work in the parking lot. If you don't know where your vehicle is in relation to other things on the roadway, go back to the slow speed maneuvers. This will teach you mastery of the primary controls, the steering wheel, the gas pedal, and the brake. So slow speed maneuvers. And then there's a podcast as well on driving examiners. Have a look at that. Again, all of the links for these resources are down in the description underneath the video. So the driving examiner's job is to assess your ability to have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. That's what their job is. And you need to be able to do that. And we just had a comment here that you can blame somebody else in the driving environment for something that happened during your driving test, but the reality is that you need to be prepared for these unexpected events. And Corey will put the video up for us on unexpected events that may or may not happen during your driving test. For example, turning red on a red light. This may be something in 10 driving lessons that you've only done once. But in the unlikely event that it happens during your driving test, know that if you're going to turn right on a red light, you need to come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position. You need to give way to all of the road users. And when the way is clear, you then can proceed. Your job is to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. That's all you need to do to pass your driver's test. First impressions, showing up for your driver's test. In this day of post-COVID, make sure that you give your car a wash, vacuum out the inside, make sure that everything is working. There aren't any chips in the glass, there aren't any cracks in the glass, the windshield wipers work, squirt. Make sure that you do a mini pre-trip inspection on your vehicle. Check all the lights, the headlights, the high beams, the low beams, the brake lights, the turn signals, that the parking brake is working. Make sure that the seat belt on the passenger side is working. I just took a student down for a driver's test here about 10 days ago, and they failed their first driving test. They didn't fail their first driving test, but they were denied their first driving test because the seat belt on the passenger side of the vehicle wasn't working. And if the seat belt isn't working on the passenger seat, then the driving examiner is not safe and they will not take you for a driving test. So make sure that everything is working. As well, have a shower, put on decent clothes, not ripped jeans, ripped shirts, t-shirts, those types of things. You know, look presentable, like you're going to go to church on Sunday sort of thing. You don't need to wear a tie and a jacket, but look neat. Look, because we're human. We make assumptions about people when they show up, okay? So first impressions, think about this when you're showing up for your driver's test. Myths about your driving test: you can't wear sunglasses. That is a complete and utter myth. If it is bright sunny day, you do wear sunglasses because it's part of your personal protective equipment. I personally cannot drive a vehicle without sunglasses. Okay, don't engage in conversation. This one I would give you with a grain of salt. If the driving examiner engages in conversation about halfway through the driving test, then yes, have a conversation. Examiners work to fail you. That's not true. They have managers and supervisors that they have to answer to, and if they're failing 80% of the people that are coming in for their driver's test, they're going to have to answer to the manager, and the manager is going to ask them why they're failing everybody on their driver's test. Examiners have a quota of number of people that can pass, a number of people that can fail. Again, not true. Okay? I have to speak perfect English. No, you don't have to speak perfect English. You simply have to be able to understand road signs, and you've done that in your learner's permit. Okay, examiners are unfair. Examiners are not unfair. They test 10 to 15 people a day, every day, 5 days a week. They are not unfair. They know within a few minutes whether you can drive or not. I can get in a vehicle with a student, and I can know within a very short period of time whether he or she can drive. So, they are not unfair. All right, these videos that you should absolutely have a look at, most common mistakes on a driver's test. I'm going to talk about one of those mistakes here a little bit more because there's a feed here on the channel, on the Smart Drive Test channel, that has gotten a little out of hand, and I need to go in and pluck out a few people on this because I'm going to clarify why that is here in the next slide. Okay, automatic fails. There are two ways that you can fail a driver's test. One is you accumulate too many demerit points, and you're allowed up to 30 points on most driving tests in most states before you fail. You are assigned points for every error that you make. It's going to be 5 to 10 points for minor errors, and it's going to be 15 to 20 points for major errors during your driver's test. So a minor error is that you bump the line, you not centered in the lane, and you bump the dividing line between the two multi-lanes. That's going to be 5 points. Too wide on a turn, that might be 10 points. However, if you stop far past the stop line, that may be 15 points because that's a dangerous action because you're too far into the intersection when you stop. The other way that you can fail is an automatic fail. So for example, you go into an intersection that is not clear and traffic is backed up through the intersection. You're sitting in the intersection, the light turns red. Automatic fail on a driver's test. You don't come to a stop for an emergency vehicle. As the emergency vehicle approaches, that too is an automatic fail on a driver's test. So have a look at those two things. I mentioned pre-trip inspection. There is a video, there is a checklist over at the Smart Drive Test website. Have a look at those. And key point, if you're going with a driving school, make sure that you ask the driving instructor if he or she did a pre-trip inspection before you show up at the at the DMV. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Driving instructors get in a hurry. They forget to do the pre-trip inspection. All you need to do when you get in the car is, hey, is the vehicle good? Did we do a pre-trip inspection? And if they say, no, we didn't do one, we don't need to, you just say, hey, can we do a quick pre-trip inspection just to make sure everything's working? And then that way you're good to go and you're not going to be denied your test. The number one error on a driver's test is not shoulder checking, okay? And as I said, there is a feed here on the Smart Drive Test channel when there are new drivers, brand new drivers who have a few weeks experience of driving, that they think that shoulder checking when they're driving is dangerous because it takes your eyes off the road in the front of your vehicle. If it is dangerous and you're taking your eyes off the road in the front, you are too close to traffic in front. First of all, you need space in front. You need that minimum 2 to 4 seconds of following distance in a passenger vehicle so that you have room to work. Okay, that's why we maintain space in front of our vehicle. There's reasons that you're using the brake, and those are to slow for traffic in front of you that's slowing, turning, or unexpected events, or controlling your speed on a downhill. Those are the only reasons you should be using the brake. Otherwise, you should be using the throttle, the gas pedal, to control space in front of your vehicle. Okay? There is no way, any method that you can use that will eliminate blind areas around your vehicle. Okay? Convex mirrors, the SAE method of adjusting your mirrors. None of this will work to eliminate the blind areas around your vehicle. You must shoulder check. If you don't shoulder check on a test, on a driver's test, you will not be successful. I guarantee you, you will not be successful. And these nut bars at the Society of Automotive Engineers, I want to find them and I want to bury them in a deep hole because you cannot adjust your mirrors to eliminate the blind areas around your vehicle. Okay? You just can't. Convex mirrors, sensors, all those types of things, they are simply a backup. You still need to shoulder check. They are simply a backup. So shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Why on any planet would you move a 3,000-pound vehicle at speed, change direction, and not shoulder check and look into your blind areas? Okay? You need to do that to be safe. I'm getting off my soapbox now. All right? Road signs, you need to check road signs. You need to adjust your driving according to the road signs. Failing to adjust speed, lane end signs, merging, stop signs. You need to know the difference between two-way stop signs, four-way stop signs, all-way stop signs. You need to know where school signs are and school speed zones are in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test. And you need to understand road markings. Solid white lines at intersections prohibit lane changes. You need to know all of this. Slow speed maneuvers. As I mentioned in the beginning, slow speed maneuvers are to driving what drills are to sports. They are what scales are to music. These will help you to be a better driver. And as well, you will learn to drive faster. 20% in, 80% out. This will improve your overall driving and make you a better driver. Lane positioning, move to the right after turning left. So if you make a left-hand turn on your driver's test, you have to move back to the right lane. Every state has a sign, slower traffic, keep right. Because you are doing the posted speed limit for your driver's test, you are going to be the slowest traffic on the roadway. Therefore, you need to move back to the right lane. And when you're turning on multi-lane intersections at complex intersections, you turn left lane to left lane, right lane to right lane. Okay, merging, changing lanes, moving the vehicle laterally, and communicating. These are all skills that you need to be successful on your driver's test. The driving examiner will assess competency. They will give you a score of demerit points. You may get 10 points, you may get 20 points, but it doesn't matter. You just need to pass. We're not going for perfection. We're going for a pass on your driver's test. It'll be a pass-fail at the end. The driving examiner will tell you that. They will give you feedback, and they will debrief you and give you feedback on how you can improve and be safe when you're driving. Now, there are bigger metropolitan cities where driving examiners have been abused, and they do not give you feedback. They do not tell you whether you passed or failed. You have to log into the DMV website later that night after 6 o'clock as a rule, and you will determine whether you passed or failed, but you will not get feedback from the driving examiner at the end of your test. So good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. So Corey's put up those videos that you can have a look at for more detail on passing your driver's test on road signs, slow speed maneuvers, denied your driving test because you failed the driving inspection, and the most common errors on a driver's test and automatic fails. Thank you for doing that, Corey. That is awesome, my friend. And my friend Klaus is here. Good evening, Rick. How you doing? 3:17 a.m. in Southeast Bavaria, Germany. Klaus, you are dedicated, my friend. Good evening, my friend. And Klaus, when I get done here at the end of the month, I'm working on something else right now, a huge project. And once we get through that, once we get into February, I'm going to do some live streams during the week that are much earlier in the day for our European friends. That's what I'm going to do. That is the plan here for this year. And if you have any suggestions for topics and those types of things, I'll be open to all of that, and looking forward to your comments and feedback. Rules. I passed my first test thanks to Rick's help. He deserves much credit for all of the hard work. Awesome. Thank you so much for your kind words, my friend. And congratulations on passing your test. Awesome, awesome news. Elevator, don't see those signs in the state of Indiana that state slower traffic, keep right. Elevator fan, now that I've mentioned them to you, you will see those signs posted along the roadway, my friend. Rules, my examiner was from India. I went 38 in a 30 school zone. As soon as I noticed, I slowed down right away, and he still let me pass. Very nice man. Rules, yes, in fact, you really did have a nice examiner, because the golden rule of passing a driver's test is do not speed in a school speed zone. You speed in a school speed zone, 9 times out of 10, that is an automatic fail on a driver's test. So yes, your driving examiner was very nice to you. And on that point, that is an excellent point. If everything else is going well in the driving test, you leave the parking lot well, you're signaling well, you're observing, you're communicating with other traffic on the roadway, and you do something like that, what Rules just said, where they were speeding in a school zone, but boom, right away, oh my God, I'm speeding, and you slow down right away, it means that you're attentive, it means that you're paying attention to your driving, and you're adjusting your driving accordingly. If the driving examiner sees that, oh, for the last 10 minutes, this student has been driving really well, but has made one mistake, most of the time, as in this case, the driving examiner is going to let you pass your test, because they know that you can drive safely. You've already demonstrated it to them. So know that for your driving test, that not everything has to be perfect. The driving examiners know that you're nervous. They know that you're taking a test, somebody's sitting there on a clipboard and they're giving you the stink eye, they're critiquing everything that you're doing. They know that you're nervous, okay? But if you can hold it together for the first 5 minutes, the first 8 minutes, there's a very high chance that if you make a mistake, they're not going to hold that against you. And I had a similar thing happen to me when I took my driving test, my truck driving license in Australia, and was in the big truck, plowed into a roundabout when I should have stopped, and the driving examiner was like, oh, I didn't really see that, and they let me pass because they knew I could drive the truck. They knew I knew what I was doing, but I didn't have a whole lot of experience with roundabouts. So if you make a mistake on a driving test, but you've already demonstrated for 5 or 10 minutes that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions, there's a high percentage that the driving examiner is not going to fail you for that one mistake. Excellent point. Rules, it was a very long drive back to the DMV. I had my head down. I thought for sure I failed. The gods were with me that day. Awesome. And this is the other point. Don't get stuck on a mistake during your driving test. Okay? If you make a mistake, the driving examiner may or may not even have seen the mistake. Or as in Rules' case, they're going to pass you anyway because you already demonstrated that you know how to drive. So don't get stuck into your mistakes and then fail because the last 5 or 10 minutes of your driving test is really terrible because you're like, oh my God, I'm so terrible. I'm just going to, you're going to like self-lament. You're going to whip yourself on your back and those types of things. Don't do that. Keep going until the driving examiner tells you to stop. Okay? Keep going. Focus on what you're doing. If you make a mistake, just take a breath and then just carry on and keep going because that's what you need to do for the purposes of your driver's test. Elevator fan, running a red light is an automatic fail on a driver's test. Elevator fan, yes, it is an automatic fail on a driver's test. This is another thing that you need to practice is yellow lights. You need to know when you can go through a yellow light and when you need to stop. And again, we come back to many people who comment and leave this. They're saying, oh my God, if you come to a stop at a yellow light, somebody's going to park in your trunk. You're going to get rear-ended. And yes, but if you slam on the brakes because there's a yellow light, you made a mistake a half a block back. You were not observing to the rear. You didn't look in your center mirror before you locked up your brakes. And that's why you got rear-ended. So know that. Okay? So practice yellow lights. Get enough practicing that you can do that. Klaus, great news. I'm looking forward to your book. Klaus, it's gone back to the graphic designer again. There were a bunch of minor amendments that need to be done, but I'm looking forward to getting done too. I'm very excited about it. Wyatt, my state's manual says mirror shoulder check signal. Should I do that instead for the test? Wyatt, it doesn't matter what order you do it in as long as you're mirror signal shoulder checking. As long as you're shoulder checking, you're checking the mirror and you're putting your signal on. Now, Wyatt, you can put the signal on and shoulder check at the same time, okay? You can move your hand and you can shoulder check and then check your mirror, okay? The order doesn't matter. As long as you do those 3 things consistently every time you change directions of the vehicle. And here's the other piece about signaling and communicating effectively. Make sure that when you go to the DMV, okay, you show up 20 minutes to 30 minutes early. You park in the reserved parking or wherever you need to park. When I was with Sam in the Bronx, you just park along the curb and wait for the examiner to come out. Now, lots of DMVs have parking lots. They have an office. That may not be the case in the larger metropolitans. In Chicago and Los Angeles and New York City, in Houston and places like that. You may just come up and have to park along the curb and then the driving examiner will come out. Now, if it has an office, has a parking lot, they will have a place for testing drivers to park. If signs don't prohibit it, it means if signs say don't back into the parking space. That way you can drive out and you can signal in the direction that the examiner indicates that you need to go to leave the parking lot, and you will be a lot less nervous when you leave the parking lot. So, and make sure that you signal in the direction that you're going to go with the vehicle, because a lot of students lose 5 points right off the start because they fail to signal leaving the parking space. And make sure that you signal Every time you change direction, both forward and backwards. When you come back to the driving test center at the end of your test, you're going to have to back into the parking space. And when you back into the parking space, make sure that you signal in the direction that you're moving the vehicle. Tip. Wyatt, thanks for clearing that up. You're most welcome, my friend. Shea, it's the Ohio cone part of the, for me, I stopped too many times checking progress. I done book driving school. Okay, yes, and talking about that, what Shea just said, in the state of Ohio, you have the Ohio maneuverability test. Corey will put up the new video for the Ohio maneuverability test for you. And yes, it's a rectangle, 9 feet by 20 feet. 20 feet out is a nose cone. You have to drive through the rectangle and then either go left or right of the nose cone in the state of Ohio. And then you have to reverse back through the rectangle. When you drive in, you have to stop so the back of the car is in line with the nose cone. When you reverse out, you have to stop so the front of the car is in line with the last 2 cones of the rectangle. That's the Ohio maneuverability test. It's a really great test. Okay, I like it as a slow speed maneuver. You can't stop. You can go like super duper slow for the Ohio maneuverability test, but you can't stop. You have to drive forward until you stop with the back of the car in line with the nose cone, and then you have to reverse in one single motion until the front of the car is in line with the 2 last cones. Yes, you can't stop. The trick to the Ohio maneuverability test is to stay tight to the driver's side. That is the sight side of the vehicle. If you get too close on the passenger side, you're going to get all muddled up and you're probably going to hit a cone. Okay? So practice the Ohio maneuverability test. There are only 3 states that I am aware of that don't do parallel parking: California, Ohio, Maryland. Okay? California makes you back up 50 feet along a curb, which is a little bit tougher than you would think it is. Oregon sometimes gets you to do that as well. The trick is to stay out about 3 feet from the curb, and that way you have wiggle room to move the car back and forth and keep it straight while you're backing up. The Ohio maneuverability test, stay tight to the driver's side. The state of Maryland, you have to do a 2-point reverse turn, so you have to back around a corner in the state of Maryland. Colton, currently reading an old Arkansas State Police driver's license manual. A lot of things in it still apply today. Yes, there are things now that didn't exist in the late 1990s, but I know how to handle that. Awesome. Shea, you are most welcome, my friend. So happy we can help out. And Paulos, you passed your driver's test. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. Where did you pass your driver's test, my friend? Awesome news. And pass your driver's test first time course package available over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can pick that up for about $38. It's on sale down from $60. And we include both the winter and defensive driving smart courses. And for many of you, winter driving, this is going to be your first time driving in the wintertime. So that and the defensive driving are both included as a bonus. So check that out over at the Smart Drive Test website. Corey put the link up for you as well. Down in the description, you'll find a link to that as well. The Smarter Driver course package, guaranteed to pass your driver's test first time over at the Smart Drive Test website. Klaus, if we took a driving test on Mars in 2050, we'd have to shoulder check also because of the green creatures in the area there. Yes, shoulder checking. And I've had people come back to me and say, and I've had a few people who are adamant about the Society of Automotive Engineers method of adjusting your mirrors. It doesn't work. Okay? You have to shoulder check. Have to shoulder check. There are so many blind areas which are created by the configuration of the vehicle, where you are sitting in the vehicle, how tall you are, how big you are, and how the vehicle is moving down the road in relation to fixed objects and other traffic around it. It is almost impossible to eliminate the blind areas around your vehicle. You have to shoulder check to not only pass the driver's test, but to stay safe after you pass your test. Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Not shoulder checking is to driving what not checking to see if a weapon is loaded is to gun safety. It's that serious. Okay? So shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Noah, how do I avoid overturning right turn? Noah, slow speed maneuvers. go to the parking lot and do parking into a parking space, do forward and reversing with pylons if you can get a couple of pylons, forward figure eights, reverse figure eights, do all of that, and that will help you with the overturning. You're on your right turns. Elevator fan, is having your wheels turned while waiting to make a turn on an automatic fail on a driver's test? Elevator fan, it is not an automatic fail, but you should not, especially on a left-hand turn, have your tires turned to the left. If you get rear-ended, you're going to be driven into oncoming traffic, whereas if your wheels are straight, you're going to avoid that head-on collision. So don't have two crashes where you could only just have one. All right, so do not preempt by turning your wheels. Now, saying that, if you're making a right turn, you are going to slightly angle. You're going to move to the right of your lane, and you're going to slightly angle your vehicle so it's pointed around the corner a little bit. That's different than on left-hand turns, okay? You're not going to be driven into oncoming traffic if you're rear-ended, but on a left turn, you could potentially be driven into oncoming traffic. Years old. I just passed my driving test yesterday thanks to your videos. Thank you. Your videos are very helpful, and that is awesome, my friend. Congratulations on passing. What did you do to go and celebrate passing your driver's test? Carl, I have passed my drive test with Go Transit as well as my probationary period. Now they're asking me to become an instructor. What's your opinion on that? Carl, how much driving experience do you have, and how comfortable are you in becoming an instructor? I mean, that's really the question is do you feel comfortable in doing that and taking that on? That sounds like a great challenge. Elevator fan. Okay, we answered that question. Isaac, I have an injury on my right hand. Can I still drive the test with mainly my left non-dominant hand? Isaac, is it a temporary injury? Is it something that's going to heal where you're going to be able to use your right hand again? Or is it a permanent injury that is going to preclude you from using your hand? Let me know whether it's temporary or whether it's permanent, and then I'll be able to give you an answer on that. Okay. Live, how many times should I check blind spots before changing lanes? Live, changing lanes twice, okay? So you signal, mirror signal, shoulder check. The way is clear. You have an opening, you're going to look forward, and then you're going to shoulder check one more time, and then you're going to start moving over. So you need to shoulder check twice for changing lanes for the purposes of staying safe when you're driving. Shea, is that Smart Drive package virtual? Videos will help me with the Ohio driving test. Yes, it will, Shea, for sure. With the Ohio maneuverability test. The other thing, Shea, that I would suggest that you do in preparation for the Ohio maneuverability test is there are a few places in Ohio, that I learned this in the last few weeks, where they have these Ohio maneuverability tests, the cones set up for you at some churches and other places. You can kind of Google it, and maybe what I need to do is actually make a list of practice places that are available over on the Smart Drive Test website. Places that you can go to and practice, and what you need to do is don't do the Ohio maneuverability test right away and practice that. Just practice with the cones going forward, touching the front of the car with the cone, reversing, hitting the back of the cone with the car. The cone with the car at the back. You know, driving along straight cones on the passenger side, on the driver's side. Just doing other kind of slow speed maneuver exercises, and then you'll find doing the Ohio maneuverability test is going to be easier after you practice those other slow speed maneuvers that will lead into the Ohio maneuverability test and make it a bit easier for you. Aaron, do I need to have a specific year of driving experience to work on CDL? I got my license a few months ago and I'm planning on getting a CDL. Aaron, the good news is they're looking, some of the states in the U.S., I don't know if you're in the U.S., it sounds like you are with CDL. Some of the states are going to lower the age that you are able to get your CDL. I think they're going to lower it to 18 years old, so I don't know how old you are, but yes, that is something that they are doing there. Year old, my mom was very happy. I was too. Awesome. Mallory, don't be rude to the driving examiner. They're just trying to do their job. And that is absolutely right, Mallory. They are definitely trying to do their job the best that they can and help you out to pass your driving test because they want to see you succeed as well. Brian, you're most welcome for the show, my friend. Hopefully we can help out and get you a license and pass, be a safer, smarter driver, or start a career as a CDL driver as well. And Corey's put up the video for learning the secrets of backing up straight along a curb as well. So that'll definitely help you. Carl, I had BZ license in July 2018. I'm comfortable with coach buses and double deckers, but not 100% sure as an instructor. Carl, yes, it is a bit of a different job for sure, because you can already drive, but you need to be able to relay those skills to a student. You need to, give them information that they can use to be successful in passing their tests and being safer, smarter drivers. And, if you have your school bus license with your air brakes, you're going to be able to do that, my friend. It's just a matter of asking questions of other instructors, what they're doing, what lessons plans they're using. I mean, lesson plans are going to be your biggest thing, kind of your roadmap to what you want to teach other students. And by all means, we'll do the best we can to answer your questions and help you out as an instructor. And I'm sure that at Go Transit they'll have a lot of information for you to move you into that position of being an instructor. And if you've got that kind of experience, I would encourage you to go forward and do that. I think you would find it really rewarding, helping other people and being an instructor. Wyatt, is it true that there is a province in Canada that drives on the left side of the road? I wonder how you'd transition from another province. Wyatt, that's not true. Somebody's fibbing to you. We don't have any provinces that drive on the left side of the road. The only places I know in the world that drive on the left are England, Malaysia, Japan, and Australia, and New Zealand. Those are the only countries I know. And if anybody has any other ones, let me know, because those are the ones off the top of my head that I know. The UK, Japan, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand. South Africa. Yes, I forgot South Africa. Yes, that's another one that drives on the left. So if you get an opportunity, definitely go to one of those countries and drive on the left, because it's lots of fun. My friend Big Mac Sam is here. Hello, my friend. How are you there in the Bronx? What's the weather like there? I'm actually coming to Philadelphia at the end of the month. Tentatively, I'm coming to Philadelphia at the end of the month. Actually, Sam, I'm going to Wilmington, Delaware, which I understand is about a half an hour from Philly. So that'll be fun. Lawrence said Singapore is another one that drives on the left side of the road. Thank you for that. Carl, you're most welcome, my friend, and I'm sure you'll find that really great, a really great position. Colton, India has cars on the left side of the road. Yes, Colton, how could I forget India? India drives on the left side of the road. How could I forget that? Wyatt, I don't think so. He was also saying most countries drive on the left. Not most countries, some countries. India, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, UK, those are the left hands, and Japan. Don't forget Japan. Mallory, I'm a smart passenger. My parents are my drivers. Awesome. Wyatt, Wilmington, Delaware is where Mr. POTUS is from. I'll have to look that up after the live stream, because I'm not aware of Mr. POTUS. I'm just writing that down here so I don't forget. Mr. POTUS. I need a better pen too. I was in a bit of a hurry there at the end, get started the live stream. Aaron, also another thing to note, not all examiners are grumpy and mean. First time I had a mean examiner. Second time I have a polite and friendly examiner. And yes, and that's an excellent point, getting back to driving examiners. Elaine, who is the driving examiner in Penticton, she came up from the coast, Vancouver, the city of Vancouver. First time I met her, I kind of thought, oh, she's a bit, very by the book kind of rule. But went down the second time with the student, and he passed his driver's test. And not only that, she was very nice, because for the class 3, which is a dump truck, it's a box truck, and she gave him 45 minutes to do the pre-trip inspection. Well, any other driving test center for a class 3, class D in Ontario, it's a class 3. Most other places, they're going to give you 30 minutes, and she was giving him 40. She was giving him an extra 15 minutes to do the pre-trip inspection. So she was very nice with the students. Sam says he's doing great. Nice and warm here at 44 degrees. Yeah, I bet you 44 degrees, Sam. In the Bronx there, you'd be wearing your winter woolies. That's cold for you guys there on the eastern seaboard. So, yeah, it'll be right down balmy when I get down there. Of course, we've been in a thaw here on the west coast. It's been just, above freezing here every day. It's been 36, 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Isaac, my injury is temporary and wouldn't recover until after my test date. Do you ever receive drivers who can only use one hand in their test? I'm practicing with just my dominant hand. Isaac, if you have a temporary injury on your hand that is going to preclude you using two hands on the steering wheel, I would get in touch with the DMV and inform them of that and see what they say, because I cannot give you information that is what the DMV examiners are going to say, okay? So I would counsel you to get in touch with the DMV and inform them of your injury, because I don't know whether they're going to let you drive with just one hand, my friend. If it was a permanent injury, what I would say to you is that you would have to get a spinner knob. In order to get a spinner knob fitted in your vehicle, you have to get a note from your doctor, and you have to get maybe an occupational therapist to write off on that and to give you some training so that you can do that safely. So my suggestion to you is, if the injury is going to heal up after you get your driver's test, go and see the DMV. They might even ask you to prolong or postpone rather your driver's test so that you can drive the vehicle safely. Isaac, yeah, okay, so I answered your question there. Emma, hello, I really don't want to be so nervous. Emma, yes, you're going to be nervous. The driving examiners know that you're nervous. They're not going to ask you to do anything unsafe. They're not going to try and trick you on your test or those types of things. Remember to breathe in through the nose. Hold at your navel 3 seconds. Breathe out. That will cause your body to relax. You're going to be nervous on your test. We're all nervous during tests, so know that. And it's just part of it. But we got to overcome that. Know that we're nervous. Know that we have fear. But do it anyway, okay? Pass your test. Emma, okay, nervous while driving. Palm sweat and I can't seem to stop it. Okay, Emma. And again, Corey will put up the video for you on 8 tips to reduce fear and anxiety when you're driving. And the other thing, Emma, Corey's already put the video up. He's preempted me on that. Thank you for that, Corey. So have a look at that, and that will help you out as well with your sweaty palms and those types of things. But it's not a big deal if you just got sweaty palms. That's pretty normal for most people who are learning how to drive, my friend. Kaylee, how long is the G road test? Probably 20 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes, depending on which test center you're going to, which driving examiner you're going to go with. And this is something else. How long is a driving test? If you're in some of the larger metropolitan areas like New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, Houston, Los Angeles, it might be 10 minutes. Okay, 8 to 10 minutes. If you're in some of the other rural areas, it might be longer. We went to a rural area with Charlie here a couple years ago. Corey put up the videos for him. He had his driver's test. He was gone 40 minutes, almost 45 minutes for his driver's test, because he's in a rural country town. They don't have a whole lot of driving tests during the day, so their driving tests are longer. So know that if you go to a different test center that's in a rural setting, your driving test might be a lot longer. But if you go into a metropolitan area, it's going to be much shorter. So you're going to have to be on from the second that you start driving. Know that. Rhoda, please, how close can I be to the cones when backing in during the test? Rhoda, you can be as close as you want to the cones so long as you don't hit the cones. But ideally, you want to be 8 to 12 inches away from the cones so that you have that space, so that there's, you have a margin of air there. You don't want to be so close to them that, if you do something incorrectly or move the steering wheel the wrong way, that you're going to strike the cones. Because keep in mind, striking a fixed object, i.e. a cone, the concrete barrier behind the parking space or the fence, that's an automatic fail on a driver's test. Don't hit something on your driver's test. Epic, I'm wondering if there are differences between an examiner for a car and a commercial vehicle or the same. In parts of the world, both cars and commercial vehicles have different sets of examiner standards. No, Epic, there are different criteria that the examiners have to be trained on. So many driving examiners will only do cars. Those driving examiners that do trucks and buses, they have to be trained to a different standard to be able to do commercial vehicles. And in many DMVs that do commercial testing, there will only be maybe 1 or 2 driving examiners that just do commercial testing. For example, Elaine, who does the commercial testing down in Penticton, which is a kind of a rural place here in British Columbia where I live, did commercial testing on the coast. She was doing 2 class 1s a day, 5 days a week. She said when she was in Penticton, she was only doing 3 or 4 a week, if that. So she was full-time commercial testing when she was down in a large metropolitan area, but once she moved to the rural setting, then she's doing far fewer commercial tests for the bigger licenses. So yeah, there is a difference between examiners who are doing just cars and those that are doing CDL stuff. Bleep, I'm trying to become a drive test examiner. I'm a certified driving education instructor and provider in the state of Michigan. Anybody know what I should do? Bleep, the first thing, if you want to be a driving examiner, you have to get hired on by the DMV. That's what you need to do. So it's probably going to be a government posting, and you're going to have to get into the DMV and start working for the DMV. That's where you're going to start. I would go down, excuse me. I would go down to the DMV and start questioning people about where you apply and who you talk to about becoming a driving examiner. The other challenge you're going to face with that is many of the employees at the DMVs are unionized, and oftentimes driving examiners get promoted from within the DMV. So for example, if they're working as a receptionist or a frontline worker at the DMV and answering questions and doing paperwork for registrations and insurance and those types of things, those people see a posting come up for a driving examiner. They'll apply for it, get hired, and then the DMV will train them to be a driving examiner. So that's the other way that this works in terms of becoming a driving examiner. Okay. Shea, I told my driving school I would like to practice my concerns the week of the test. And yes, that's a good thing to do. Kaylee, your video prepared me for G2, so I'm going to be using them for my G coming up. Awesome. Congratulations, Kaylee. So happy to hear that we could help you out. Rhoda, please. Okay, we answered that question, Shea. So it can stay fresh. Before I did my driving school, the lessons were spaced out. I didn't like that. Aaron, manual car requirements is what they make most UK tests tougher. Also in the UK, I heard they make you drive on the super narrow road, and the tests are also like the 20 to 30 minutes. Aaron, yeah, there is no comparison between a test in North America and a test in the UK and in Europe. Yes, you have to drive a manual car, which in and of itself is a whole new challenge. And then second, the roads are way narrower. Corey put up the videos for you when I was driving in Spain, and just look at the parking garage that I came out of when I was in Barcelona and come out of the parking garage at the airport. I was coming down the ramp. I bet you there wasn't 4 inches on either side of the car, and it was a little car. Like it was like a Volkswagen Golf, and I was coming down the ramp, and I'm like, wow, is this narrow or what? So you have that to deal with, and then you have like a roundabout like at every other intersection. Of course, they call them junctions there. So yeah, it's way tougher. And in London, England, there are some test centers in London, England, where the fail rate is like 65 and 70%. That's how tough it is. You have to drive a manual car. You have to drive on these crazy narrow streets with junctions and pedestrians and all kinds of fixed objects. And yes, it is super, super tough. Elevator fan, get well, my friend. Good night. Have a great night, my friend. Bleep, you're most welcome. Wyatt, my town's test is like 5 minutes, and they always use 2 different routes. Almost as easy as Florida's parking lot tests. Awesome. Aaron, also learning how to drive both automatic and manual car also helps, and you will become better prepared to have different types of vehicles. Absolutely. And Corey put up the videos there on driving in Spain if you want to have a look at those and see the challenges you have there. Pass your driver's test first time course package. Corey put up the link. It's also down in the description. Guaranteed to pass your driver's first time. And as well, we throw in both the winter and defensive driving smart courses. You can pick that up over at the Smart Drive Test website for about $38. It's on sale from $60. So have a look at that. And again, guaranteed to pass your driver's test first time. Mallory, what is the one thing that new drivers should look for on their driver's test? One thing, good observation, forward scanning pattern. Make sure that you're shoulder checking every time you change directions of the vehicle. 3 basic maneuvers for any driving test, except the 3 that I mentioned, Maryland, California, and Ohio, is parallel parking, backing into a parking space, and 3-point turns, sometimes known as the Y turn or the K turn. So know those slow speed maneuvers. Know that slow speed maneuvers are going to improve your overall driving. So practice the slow speed maneuvers and become a better driver overall. Okay, driving in a forward motion, reading and responding traffic patterns, and changing your driving according to the changing driving conditions on the roadway. Your job on a driver's test is to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. The driving examiner's job is to assess your ability to have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. Nothing less, nothing more. That's what you need to do. Klaus, that's the reason I will never be driving in the UK. The roads are narrower than many roads in Germany. Yes, if you get into mainland Europe, it's less forgiving. You know, there are wider roads and whatnot than there are in the UK. There are some crazy narrow roads in the UK, and I've been in the UK. I've driven there. I've ridden my bicycle there, and yes, it's challenging for sure. Sam says, I heard that in the UK the road test is 40 minutes long, 10 minutes for letting the road test examiner the controls of the car, lights, horn, and testing them, and 30 minutes driving. And yes, Sam, that's probably correct. It is it's a lot tougher in the UK and Germany and other places in Europe than it is here in North America. And I get a lot of comments from people in Europe and the UK who say, you know, oh my God, the test in the States is a joke. Because, you know, first they're driving manual cars, and B, they're doing all that stuff that you just listed there, and it is tough for new drivers to get their license, for sure. Orion, I got my driver's license and got a car last day of December. Heck yeah, awesome. That is terrific news, my friend. Awesome news. Thank you so much for stopping back and letting us know about your success and getting your license and getting a car. That is just tremendous. Awesome news. Thank you so much. I was doing perfect except for waiting too long for a pedestrian to cross. The second time I got 13 errors and passed, so backwards. Awesome. Wyatt says, hats off to my boss. He's from England. Awesome. Retired, even though I've been driving for 37 years, I really enjoy your channel. Retired, thank you so much for your kind words, my friend. And so glad that we can entertain and help out with the driving. So yes, so 4 components of any driver's test: space management, speed management, observation, and communication. You get those 4 pieces in place, and you will be successful on passing your driver's test. Klaus says, Germany is good. UK can be a bit of a whore. So there we go. A lot of people don't like driving in the UK. It is definitely challenging for sure. And at some juncture, I'm actually going to get over to the UK, and I'm actually going to do some driving and do some driving test videos for people in the world, and then you can see what's going on there. And, you know, it was, you know, even with the amount of experience that I have driving in the world, drove buses when I was in Australia. And the roads are narrower in Australia for sure, too, as well. And that took a bit of time to get used to that when I was driving commercially there. You know, even when I was driving in Spain, it was still a little bit of a transition about everything that was going on, because even in Spain the roads were a bit narrower and it's a bit crazy, and there's lots of roundabouts, and you know, there's one video there with the police vehicle going by, and I'm like, oh, I know there's a police vehicle, I can hear it, and then it drove past me, and I was like, I didn't really see it till it was a half a block in front of me, but I knew there was one there, and I was over in the right lane, so it was all good. And of course, pushing through roundabouts is a very real thing in Spain and Europe and those types of things. So yeah, it's very different, even with the amount of experience that I had driving there. So check out the Smarter Driver course package over at the Smart Drive Test website. I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Congratulations to all the drivers that have passed their driver's test in the last couple of weeks. Awesome news. Thank you for coming back, letting me know. Thank you for your kind words. It just makes all of this really great, fills my bucket. And if you have a driving test coming up in the next week or so, congratulations on, or good luck on that rather, and have an awesome night. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Bye now.